How long are these PRs going to continue happening weekly? When is it going to all stop? This is a question that it's only a natural one after you string together, 5-6 weeks of, PRs back to back to back. The thought is, why wouldn't this continue? Like, what's going to stop it? And I guess the answer to this is that eventually we'll get to a stage where 2.5 kilo increases per week are going to outrun the biological capacity to just strengthen different tissues. Sometimes the stimulus that you induce every week, at the start of every week, and the recovery that you go under as a result of that stimulus is not going to be enough. Eventually, that 2.5 kilos is going to be very, very, very difficult to put on because, the first word that comes to my mind is flow. There's only so much flow your body can achieve in terms of, flow of nutrients, flow of waste products, the flow of new cells, generation, strengthening, the nervous system, the bones, all of these different tissues have a different timeline of how quickly they can hypertrophy. And then obviously on top of that, there's also this other negative graph or negative set of events that happen, which causes you to lose muscle, lose tissue, lose everything. There's like an aging process there as well. And so we do the best we can to stimulate the body in order for it to kind of kickstart the genes to get stronger and stronger and stronger. But there's also a process of everything kind of getting slower and slower and slower. So there's a tipping point, I suppose, of everyone's in life where it's going to get where, your wasting outpaces your growing. But that's not going to affect me for a little while, obviously. But it's important to kind of outline all of those kind of grand ideas of what's happening in somebody's lifespan, because we don't live 1,000 years. We live, if we're lucky, 100 years. And out of those 100 years, probably, I don't know, how many years are we truly capable of physically? Maybe from the ages of, I don't know, would you say 15? I don't know. In terms of strength and whatever, the first 15 years of life, we're just kind of getting out of our baby mode. And so, we can't really load a 15-year-old body like we can a 25-year-old body. So, for the sake of simplicity, let's say from 15 to 65, there's this really, really capable period. And then in the fringes of that, there's things that happen that are just not ready. Either you're too young or you're getting a bit, on the older side, and some things start to pile up: injuries, inflammation, and just your ability to keep on muscle tissue it's not possible for your endocrine system to maintain at 75 years old, at 85 years old. And so there's this, rise and fall. There's a rise and fall for every empire in the world. There's a rise and fall for every company in the world. There's also a rise and fall for our life. There is a peak, and then there's, pre and post peak. Superseding all of that is also your training career. How many years have you been lifting heavy? When did you start? When did you end? And so somebody that starts thrashing his body at 20 with heavy weight, probably at 45 is going to start to, wear and tear. The injuries start to pile up. You're an elite athlete now for, let's say, 20 years. That's a very long time for you to be at the top. And so just shifting some of those numbers for a very, very long time has its impact. But with that also comes with intelligence. So as somebody kind of ages through their training career, they get smarter. And so maybe some of that decay that we experience gets outweighed by your intellect, your ability to train smarter. You've learned different things, different tricks, different exercises, different periodization, programming. And so there's a lot of factors to get involved in here in this conversation, but essentially there's multiple different forces, and what you want is a net positive. But even that gets outweighed eventually. So sometimes I think back, in the last couple of weeks, and I'm like, one of these days the weights are going to really slow down a lot, and I'm going to have to just pack it in and build another block of a big base, and then maybe I can have another one of these runs, I don't know, in 6 months' time or 3 months' time or whatever. But it's just an interesting, thought process, sitting back and reevaluating everything and trying to learn from such a really positive thing. And then also at the same time, I'm like, okay, when is this going to end? Before I start really building the next base. I mean, these weekly PRs are fantastic and I absolutely love them. But there's going to be a point where, okay, right, let's stop this now and let's really build an even, bigger base with this new peak and try and, shoot for 250 or 260 or whatever. Like, all of these numbers seem ridiculous to me right now because it's all very fresh. I haven't really gotten used to them because the previous numbers I really had years to get used to, really. Now I'm kind of come up into this other thing and I'm like, okay, I really want to start building. And I am building right now as well, but like there's a weekly timetable now that I kind of have to get ready for the next attempt at a PR, which is Saturday or Sunday. It would be good to, go away from this, undulating periodization, which I'm doing right now, which is, one day of the week I'm trying to push the volume really hard. And then one day a week I'm also trying to push single reps really hard. So there's this 5 reps, so there's this 1 rep. And then on the side as well, there's also the belt squats, which I'm trying to progress, which are, 8 to 12 to 15 reps. So there's multiple different, this is also what I'm saying, undulating periodization, because there's multiple different, qualities which I'm training at the same time, which is really working out really well for me. So the next block doesn't have to be that I remove the singles altogether, but maybe I don't push for the 230s. I stop at 220s every day, weekly. It's really interesting to kind of sit back and think about all of this scientific stuff at the bottom of it to try and which basically underpins all of this stuff that we think about. But somebody asked me, like, Ivan, when do you think you're going to peak? It's really hard to answer that because I've seen a lot of people really strong in their 40s. I've seen really strong people in their 20s. Now, does that 20-year-old that's squatting 700, is he going to be able to squat 700 at 45? I don't know. That's a very long peak. And in sporting worlds, we talk about peaks. How long can you maintain the peak? And how did you get to that peak? If you're abusing drugs and you're 20 and you're squatting 700, it's very unlikely that your endocrine system and multiple other systems are going to be able to withstand such abuse for 20 years. But if you've, had a mellow approach and you started picking this up at mid-20s and now you're mid-30s and now you're looking at the barrel of how long can you go, well, it's a different thing. Age is not the only thing. Like for somebody that's peaked at 23, 24, 45 is a very long time away. But somebody that's peaking at 40, that's a different vibe, right? It's less injuries. So that the 45-year-olds are going to be vastly different. You know what I mean? So it's just interesting to think about all of this. Anyway, appreciate you guys. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.